recording in case you want that for later. This microphone looks huge, but it's not that big. Okay,
Yes,
I'd,
thank
I'd
you.
like to I'd like to know a couple of things before the mock test. First of all, when are you planning to take your test?
I'm going to take my test on the 28th of May.
28 May. Okay.
Yeah.
And what is the score that you need to get?
Mm, well, I need to get more above 6.5.
All right, 6.5. And have you ever had a test before?
No, I haven't.
Okay, it'll be your first time. All right, so don't worry about that. That's a good benefit
Yeah.
you can get today is just to experience how the test goes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the mock test. I'm going to write down any things I like or any mistakes while you're speaking. At the end of it, we can review and discuss, right? Uh, so you have time at the
Yes.
end to ask questions, but do you have any questions you want to ask me now?
Actually, I'm quite confident in my reading and my listening skill, but
Yeah.
my speaking skill is kind really bad. Yeah,
Mm,
and I think I'm trying my best to
yeah.
overcome this
Oh,
test.
all right. Yeah. Just do your best today. That's right. Okay. All right. So let's begin now. I'll just open up the
Yes.
questions and we'll start. Uh, so we're starting the test now. Let's start off by talking about what you are doing. Do you work
Yes.
or study?
Well, for the better part of my last 10 years, I've been doing in the bank industry for five. Yeah.
Did you say studying history?
Uh, I, I have been work. I have
Oh,
been working in the bank industry
uh,
for 5 years.
okay. Sorry, I misheard. Okay, so working in a bank. What do you like most about your job?
Mm, I love this job because it's interesting and it can broaden my networking. Yeah, and my father is also a bank officer, so I want to follow his step.
All right, thank you. Um, is there anything challenging about your job?
Well, I think the most challenging in my job is that I need to hunt and find new potential customers for my bank. Well, this is the hardest part, because my networking now isn't good, so it's quite hard to me to find customers.
All right. Does your job require the use of any technology?
Uh, to be honest, I usually use the uh, calendar function on my phone to notify the meeting with my client, and I also use the electronic mail to communicate with my client.
All right. Thank you. Let's move on now and talk about memories and remembering things. Do
Yes.
you have a good memory?
Well, to be honest, I when it comes to memory, I'm not good because I can. I used to be have a good memory when I was a child, but due to the hectic schedule recently, that I often forget things.
All right. Do you do anything to help yourself remember things?
So as I mentioned earlier, I have the remind function on my phone to notify me when I have an important meeting with my client, and I also ask my wife to to, to remind me what's important in my day.
All right. Are you good at remembering people's names?
May you repeat that for me,
Um,
please?
are you good at remembering people's names?
Yeah. Uh, well, like I mentioned earlier, I'm not really good at remembering things. So I have to meet beat them in 3 or 4 times to remember their name.
All right. Have you ever forgotten something that was really important?
Yes, everyone did, and we're not an exception. So, for example, last year I totally forgot about my wife's birthday, so I didn't prepare her a gift or anything. So he got mad at me about a week, and I'm trying to make the appointment on my phone to notify me when I have some important event.
Okay, thank you.
I see.
Um, all right, let's now talk about computers and using a computer. How often do you use a computer?
Uh, well, I use my computer every day, especially in the pandemic time, because I have to work remotely and study online.
Okay. When was the first time you used a computer?
Uh, wow, actually, if my memory serves me right, mm, it was on my 8th birthday, and my father bought one for my family to use, and that's were the first time I have an opportunity to use a computer.
Thank you. One moment. Okay. Is there anything you find difficult about using a computer?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, for me, I I actually don't have any difficulty in using the computer. But one thing makes me annoying is that my current computer is so clunky, and I I do not bring it to when I go outside. So I wish I could change to the brand new MacBook in the near future.
Okay. One moment. Okay. What would your life be like without a computer?
Mm, Well, actually, I've never talked about that before. But in in today's society, I think it's impossible for anyone to pass on a day without a computer. So I think it would be a nightmare for me because I have to do on work on the paper and it's it's a pity I think.
All right, thank you. Okay, so that's the end of part one of the test. We're going to move on now to part two of the test. What I'm going to do is give you a topic. Do you know what happens in part two?
Yes, I know it.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to paste a topic for you into the Skype chat, and then I'm going to give you some time to work on your answer, and then I'll ask you to speak for 1 or 2 minutes. Okay, just tell me when
Yes.
you can see it. It says, describe a neighbor you find interesting. Can you see your topic?
Well, I have yes. Uh, well, I write down. I will
Yeah.
write down.
Okay, you can. Can you see
Yes.
it? Can you see the topic?
Mm, Actually, no.
Okay, so
It
go
just
to
come up
the
and now it disappear.
right. Understand. Go where you typed
Okay.
the message before. Go to the chat area.
Yes.
Just go
Okay.
in like
You hear
where you
me?
imagine you want to type me a message. You go in there. Do you see it
Yes.
now?
Okay. I yes. I saw the topic.
Okay. All right.
Let's
So it says
describe neighborhood. Yeah.
a neighbor. Describe a neighbor that's a person you find interesting. All right. I'll give you some time now to prepare.
Yes.
All right. Can you start speaking now, please?
Yes. Well, today I'm going to elaborate on a neighbor that I have recently met. Mm, so his name is Stephen. Actually, Stephen is English name. In Vietnamese is Thâm. He recently moved to my living area, and actually he has a weird dressing style with short t-shirt and slipper, and it didn't leave a good impression on me. So I think one day when I was at a coffee shop in my house and I was enjoying my cup of coffee, he suddenly come up and he approached me and wanted to start a conversation. Well, at first I was kind of hesitant and I just replied his questions for courtesy. But after 5 minutes or more, I think I realized that uh, this guy was an amazing guy, and he was so down to the earth. You know, he's so friendly, and I found and I and he also has uh, a wide range of knowledge in the finance field, which are is which the same extent like me. Uh, he was also pursuing the same master class as me, so we have shared a lot of things in common. At the end, so I and him talked in about 2 hours, and he gave he also gave me some pieces of advice that helped me to solve my problems in my project. Yeah, it was like a kind of lifesaver to me.
All
So
right.
I
I'll,
wish.
I'll, I'll stop you there just because the time's up. Do you know most of your neighbours?
You know most.
Uh,
Uh,
do,
may you repeat that?
sure. Do you know most of your neighbours?
Uh, act- Actually, um, it depends on the location I am in, because in my hometown everybody knows everybody knows each other, but in in the in the city I live now, we hardly have a connection or relationship with our neighbor.
All right. Thank you. All right. Let's talk some more about neighbours. First of all, do you think people are usually familiar with their neighbours in Vietnam?
Uh, well, like I mentioned earlier, it really depends on the location we are in. So in my hometown, that everybody know each other clearly, but in the city, actually, that I think we 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 have to spend time on the work obligation, for example. So we hardly have the connection with our neighbor.
All right. Thank you. How can people improve their relationships with their neighbours?
Well, in my opinion, there are several ways to increase the relationship with our neighbor. First, uh, first you can greet them whenever we meet them. So a good way to start a conversation is a good greeting, I think. And uh, and secondly, we should share more about ourselves to them. Do they know us better?
All right. What are some common problems between neighbours?
Well, honestly, I don't actually I myself don't pay attention much on my neighbor. So this is an interesting question for me. But I think um, in in my opinion, we could share the most problem may happen between neighbors is that
Well, do you think that noise is ever a problem?
yes. So when your neighbor have a party or they usually have a karaoke at home, and the noise from that party really make me annoying. So I think that's the most problem with my neighbor.
Okay. If people have problems with their neighbors, what should they do?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, uh, we should frankly talk to our neighbor, and together we could find a solution for that. For example, in the last time, my 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 neighbor had a party near my house. Uh, I, I I come to his I come to their house and gently said to them, so they turn down the volume of the karaoke. Yeah, I think that's a good way. That was a good way.
All right, thank you. I'm going to stop there. That's the end of the test. What I want to do now is give you some feedback. Okay. So
Yes.
this kind of maybe the most important part. You can ask me questions at any point, and I'll try and sort of explain things that I like, things that I don't like. Okay. So there's 4 criteria: fluency, pronunciation, vocabulary, grammar. Let's start with fluency. It's fine for 6. To get to
Yes.
7, I feel you need to mostly just practice so that you can speed up a bit and
Yes.
maybe sometimes give some longer answers. Okay. So
Yes.
I suggest you practice all the current questions that are in the test for this year, January to April and May to September.
Yeah.
So try and find out. There's websites, the common questions that are in the test, and practice. So I think it's fine for 6, and the answers you're giving are fine. Um, that one about problems between neighbours, that was difficult, I know. Just try and come up with something. It doesn't have to be the best thing, right? There's
Yes.
actually lots of problems if you think about it. Um, if you just can't think of anything, tell the examiner. Just say, sorry, I just can't think of any ideas. Just tell the examiner that you don't have ideas, and then they'll do what I did. They'll say, well, what about noise? They'll give you some sort of help. It's not a knowledge test. So if you can't think of any ideas, that's not. Part 1, really all the examiner can do to help you is repeat the question. They can't give you any ideas. All right, so I thought that was fine for 6. Pronunciation, I think it's the weakest. And let me go through. There's a few issues. Some of them easy to catch, some of them maybe not easy to catch. So one of the problems I've noticed is this one's sort of minor, but let me tell you anyway. So you've got quite strong Vietnamese pronunciation. So a word like with, I'd say with, you're
With.
kind of rushing it and sort of like it's kind of like with too quick. You're speaking
Yeah.
too quickly, like with, and but you've got it more like but, and meet and greet, like meet, greet, the very short, like this. So I think it's just the difference between Vietnamese and English, right? So try and work on the sounds a bit when you're practicing your listening, and just try to work on those sounds. They're a bit longer in English. You're cutting off the air. It's kind of to do with the throat, and you're closing the throat too soon. So it should be but, lots of air passing through but you're cutting off the air. You're saying but is very quickly. It's something to do with Vietnamese, right? So that's one
Yes.
thing. Another thing common for Vietnamese is to kind of miss off the end sounds of words completely. So that first issue I was telling you is about you're just shutting it off too quick. You're shutting off the throat too quick. Sometimes I'm not hearing the end. So a word like child, I just hear chai. I'm not
Yeah.
hearing that little child. So make sure you're getting your tongue to make the L sound, child. Um, See if there's some more like that. And another one like that is finance. I didn't hear that
Yeah.
at the end. Let me hear you
Finance.
say finance. Yeah, that's good. Um, hometown, hometown.
Yeah.
Let me hear that
Hometown.
hometown. Yeah, like
Hometown.
and like.
Like.
So all of those I didn't hear the sound. Let's just go back to those other ones. Let me hear you say with.
With.
Yeah, that's okay. And but.
Yes. But.
Right. So that it's slightly different problems. That first one is about shutting off the throat too soon and not fully. It just sounds a bit unnatural. That's not so bad. That one's not so bad, but practice it. And then when I don't hear the end at all, like chai and finance and hometown and lie, I lie. Just like to
Yeah.
tell a lie, right? That's more serious. Okay. And then I noticed some other errors too. Um, Sometimes instead of saying was, you're saying were. So let me hear
Was.
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 Yeah,
Was. Yes.
that's good. Um, so I think you work on it a little bit. I think your test coming soon. I think maybe you'll get 6. I don't see you getting 7. If it's bad, you might get 5. So I think you should work on it a little bit. Like heavy
Yeah.
accent. Accent's fine as long as I can understand what you're saying. But I can understand what you're saying, but how and lie is different. Okay, vocabulary's all right for 6, but not really for 7. For 7, I need more high-level language. I'll give you a few ideas in the feedback, but just briefly, if you uh, there's a lot of questions about what you like, what you don't like, especially in part 1 of the test. So you can have some better words for like and dislike. So we've got keen on, fond of, big fan of. Better ways to say like, dislike, can't stand, not my cup of tea. So I suggest you practice using these rephrases, upgrade some common words, right? Part
Yes.
2, you want some adjectives. The first word's always describe. A person who's shy is an introvert. Someone who's
Yeah.
outgoing is an extrovert. You could practice using those words to describe people. Um,
Yes.
Idiomatic expressions, an early bird, someone who gets up early, a night owl, someone who stays up late. So you could pick some of these words to talk about your neighbor, right? So work on these, look at lots of part 2 topics and think, if I get that topic in the test, what vocabulary could I use to spice it up a bit, right? So I think that's fine for 6. Grammar's okay for 6. Let me just go through some errors that I noticed. So this is from the start in the order that you made them. You said a person or something that I have recently. Let me see where I'm at the start. Sorry, the start. I go back to the start. Hold on. You said the most challenge in my job. You want to say the most challenging thing, or the biggest challenge. You can say the biggest challenge or the most challenging thing, and then that's fine. When it comes to memory, it is not good. Maybe when it comes to my memory, it is not good. When it comes to my memory. My wife's birthday. My wife's.
Wife.
Yes, my
Wife.
birthday. Wife's.
Yes. Yes. Wife.
It's
Wife.
quite hard to get the wife's. My wife's.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. You might have said he. I'm not. But you might have said he. Should be she got mad at me for about a week. Make the appointment on my phone. I'd say set a reminder.
Reminder.
Right? An appointment is like to go visit the dentist or something. If it's your wife's birthday, you want to set a reminder to help you remember it, right?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, another thing I noticed at the end of part 1, in a couple of places actually, sometimes your P sounds like a B, so you're getting a bit of confusion. So these are the words I noticed. These should be P, but I heard B. You can say them after me. Pandemic,
Pandemic.
pass,
Pass.
paper.
Paper.
So with a P, we push out air, and with a B, not so much. P, push out air, and B, not so much. Right? So
Yes.
P pushes
Paper.
out air. So practice P's more. Okay,
Yes.
part 2. Neighbor that I've recently met, past tense, because you met him in the past. Moved to my living area. Sounds a bit strange, but it's not exactly wrong. I'd say move to my neighborhood or the area I live in would be better. Down to the earth. Down to earth is good. That's a tick. It's an idiomatic expression, but it's not down to the earth. It's just down to earth. Very down to earth.
Down to earth.
Right. Same. You said something about he's the same except like me. It's just the same as me. He's the same as me. We have shared a lot of them. We have shared. Maybe shared. We have shared past tense. Shared a lot of. Talk in about, for about. Talk for about 1 hour or whatever it was. Talk for about. It depends on the location. It depends. Depends. That could be pronunciation. You might be just not getting the S due to pronunciation. Everybody know each other. Everybody knows each other. It's probably pronunciation. It's going to more likely count under grammar. Okay, part 3. The most problem may happen between neighbours. So it's not the most problem, it's either the biggest problem, if you mean the most serious one, or the most common, if it happens the most. So you've got some slight errors with these, talking about like the most. So the most problem doesn't make sense. It should be the biggest problem or the most common problem. So have a look at that and review that. I'll put it in writing. Noise make me annoying. Noise makes, yes, again, me annoying. And it's not it makes me annoyed. It makes me annoyed. It makes me annoyed. You feel noise is annoying. It makes me feel annoyed, right? So annoyed is for my feeling, and then ing is for the thing that causes it. Noise is annoying. It makes me feel annoyed. Okay, so review that. The most problem with my neighbor. So again, you've got this most problem. It's either the biggest problem or the most common problem. So that's that same error, right? It's good to work on. If you've got repeated errors, it's good to work on them, right? Review that for a few days or something. Get rid of that error. So when you go to the test, you have fewer errors, right? Grammar's not too bad. I feel that's the stronger area, and I feel the fluency not bad. Vocabulary, all right, just need a bit of a boost. Pronunciation's the one you should work on the most. Right?
Yes.
I think it's affecting your pronunciation score and your grammar score because of the S's. All right. Do you have questions that you want to ask me?
Yes. Thank you for your business advice. I will work hard because my test is coming soon.
That's right. Yeah,
So
it's coming in 4 days. Yeah, so work
yeah,
hard. And what about if you get 6 in the test? Is it going to be enough, or you must get 6.5?
I think it's will enough because
Okay.
my reading and my listening skill. The last time I tested is about 8.5.
Oh wow, that's great. Yeah, it's a common story in Vietnam with the reading and listening scores really high and then down on the speaking, right? But just do your best over the next few days, right? Work on
Yes,
those things that I've highlighted, and let's see how it goes when you take the real test. All right. So what I'll do now, I'm going to type up this feedback and then I'm going to send it to you. I want you to review it each day, review those mistakes and think about the vocabulary a bit, and practice the pronunciation for 4 days. And hopefully you're going to get a good score when you take the test.
yes. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're most welcome. All right. So have a great day there. And I will send through your feedback very soon. Okay. All right.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
You're welcome. Have a great day over there. Okay.
Yeah,
Bye
have a
bye. See
great
you.
day too. Yeah,
Thank
bye
you.
bye.
Bye
See you
bye.
soon. Yes, thank you.
Yes. Okay.